Welcome to the channel Tribe. This episode is a part of our webinar series Tribecast. In this episode, we are having Ajay Balamurugadas talking on the topic 8 things testers believe in and are useless.
So once again, the link to the PPT is at the top. http://bit.ly/TTT webinar. I'll paste it in the comments also. So that is the slide deck we will go through, at least for me as a reference. Hi Lalit. Good. It's 10 p.m. and I think we should start. So thanks once again for joining the webinar, and you're actually giving a part of your life to this webinar. So thank you very much. And as you can see in the PPT, I'll just quickly walk you through all those slides, maybe within 1 or 2 minutes. And then you can decide whether to stay, or if you feel, yeah, I know most of this, or I'm not interested in this. So you need not waste a whole hour of your life, right? It is better to waste maybe 1 or 2 minutes rather than the whole 60 minutes. So the second slide talks about what is this webinar all about? What am I trying to do here? So it says 8 software testing practices or thoughts. I want to convey my opinion, my thoughts about those. It could be different from yours, which is fair enough. And I will also not just complain about those, but also give the alternatives, what I think. And then finally, the story behind this topic. It also gives us an opportunity to discuss on these topics, debate. Let's debate the next day. I'm not someone who is awake after 9:30 usually. Okay, so the first thought is take decision solely based on the bug count, which many people do. If there are X number of bugs, then we will not release this product and things like that. So how do we deal with that? Slide 4 talks about don't compare or don't count bugs. It's like ideas or kisses. You can't count them. Each kiss is different. Each idea is different. Then the next thought is what is the ideal dev to tester ratio? It's been going around in different companies, different teams. So I'll talk about that. Then the third thought is about pass percentage. It should have been test case pass percentage or test suite pass percentage. Again, if it meets X number, X percent, then we are good to go, or not good to go, things like that. Then thought number 4 is automation is superior to manual. If I am able to do automation compared to a tester who is not able to do, or who is not able to use a particular tool, I should be paid more. I know more than that person and things like that. Slide number 11, technical means ability to code. If you can code, you are technical. If you cannot code, you are not technical. That thought, how do I counter that? Thought number 6, who earns more? Dev or QA? And most of the testers feel that developers earn more than testers. Slide number 15, thought number 7, X will replace testing. At first I wrote AI and machine learning will replace testing. Then I thought about it. We have been talking, or we have been using this pattern for quite some time now. It has become a pattern. Automation will replace testing. Oh, now we have Agile, everyone is a tester, everyone is a developer. DevOps doesn't even talk about testers. AI and machine learning will definitely remove all testers, things like that. So how do we approach that thought? Then thought number 8, the last thought. I kept on thinking which particular thought to pinpoint. Then I realized maybe I should club all the points which I'm thinking and then make it into one thought. So multiple other thoughts combined into one. There's no future for testing. Testing is easy. If I learn this tool, my life is set. management listens only to developers. They don't call us for meetings other than the sprint meetings. And then I need to do the certification. Everyone else is doing it, so I need to do it, or else I'll be lost. Then finally, slide number 18 about me, and 50% off on my latest book. Slide 19, slide 20, credits for the various pictures, images used. Can we view the slides? Yes, Vatsala Narayan, bit.ly/TTT AJ webinar is the link. Hi Sharath, hi Ashwin. Okay, good. So if anyone of you has any questions right now, yes, we'll take it for like 30 seconds. If there are no questions, then we'll move on. So that is the summary of what I'm going to highlight in this webinar. So I don't want you to spend the whole 60 minutes and then say, yeah, maybe it was not useful, right? So here it is. 8 thoughts, alternatives to those 8 thoughts. You anyways have the PPT. I'm going to add just few more points around those bullet points. And then we'll take questions. I think I'll keep around 15 minutes for it. So it's 10:05 now, so we'll wrap around 10:45, and then we'll take up the questions at 10:45. Hi Sujit, hi Rahul, hi Ashwin, hi Savita. Yes, once again, the link to the PPT is right at the top, bit.ly/TTT AJ webinar. And let's get started with slide 2, what's in it for me. As I mentioned, 8 different software testing thoughts. And the idea behind this webinar, I would like to thank Jocelyn, who is a software testing manager, lead working in Mumbai, and is a big contributor to Test Tribe. So he came up with this question in the Test Away WhatsApp group called what is the ideal dev to SDET ratio? How many SDET should I hire? And immediately my thoughts were on the lines of, there is no ratio. No one knows your context better than you, and no one knows what you are expecting from the SDET or what is the role of the SDET in that particular team better than you. So asking this question in a group triggered the thought that, oh, Jocelyn is not alone. Many people ask this question, and many people seem to have an answer for this question. Like, okay, 4:1 or 8:3. From where do they get this ratio? I don't know. Maybe previous projects, maybe they know in and out of a specific context and a specific project, and they are suggesting based on that context and that project, but as a generic rule. So at that time, in the chat, I replied to Jocelyn that, hey, look, I don't think there's any standard ratio. So how many do I hire? Hire one maybe, and then see if it works out. If it doesn't work out, you stop or fire, or use the SDET for some other purpose. If it works out and if you need more, hire more. As simple as that, at least to me. So then I thought, what if we think on similar lines? And what are the other questions people usually ask? Testers strongly believe in, but then somehow they are useless without more context. Somehow they are outdated. And then I came up with this list, so which I already shared in the PPT. So let's go on to the first thought. It's take decisions solely based on the bug count. One of the key deliverables of a testing team or a tester is bugs. Most of the teams, it is bugs, unless in some rare cases where the tester is coding and just coding, right? So whether to release a particular build, a product, the yes or no decision, the go or no go decision is mostly based on the bug count. So people ask, how many bugs are open? Oh, X number of bugs are open. Oh, we can definitely not release. We cannot release this product because there are so many bugs open. That so many is again qualitative. So many is again highly dependent on that particular build. You never know what feature is going in that build. So all these questions need to be answered by thinking about that particular context, by thinking about uh, other parameters, like what is the feature we are releasing? Is that already in market and we are just revamping, or not revamp is not word, we are just adding one or two small features, or it's a total revamp, it's a UI revamp or a functional refactoring and stuff like that, right? Based on that, the bugs count might vary. Now, if you don't have enough testers, or if you don't have enough developers to code properly, maybe the bug count is high because of that. Maybe it was always tested by just one tester, and now you have an army of, say, 5 testers, and so the bugs are different. I mean, the bugs are more. Maybe it was always blocked because of one feature, and now that bug got fixed and it opened the whole application for testing this week, and so the bugs are more. So you never know. If I keep saying, okay, there are 18 open bugs, 18 open bugs of what kind, on which particular feature, a particular feature or module which is not used by majority of testers, which we have decided not to fix, compared to the feature which got built in that particular sprint and is going to be live this weekend. So there's a big difference. So my suggestion is, don't just take a decision based on the bug count. Understand the story behind the bug. Bug is anyways a relationship between a person and a product, right? So without understanding the story behind a number, don't trust a number. Numbers can lie. Numbers can unintentionally lie. Numbers can unintentionally misguide. And beware of the outliers, right? I'm not saying outliers is bad. What I'm saying is, if you don't pay attention to the outliers, that might be bad, right? So things like that. And April month, tester appraisals based on bug count. No, we don't just have that appraisal meeting based on the number of bugs. We base it on the severity of the bugs, the priority of the bugs. No, still doesn't make sense. How many duplicates were avoided? What if the tester spent the whole time trying to avoid duplicates, with the fear of, oh, if I find X number of duplicates, my rating would go down by this number, right? Rather than thinking of, okay, how do I increase my test coverage? So there's a big difference. Do you see a goal displacement happening because of this bug count? The point of having a testing team, or one of the points of having a testing team, is to give me information about the product, is to get the information about the product, about the quality of the product. Now, when you base your decision only on a particular number, without the story behind it, now everyone is thinking about that number, right? We all are humans. So don't take decisions solely based on the bug count. So what is the alternative? Whenever you are forced to take a decision, remind the people, remind the stakeholders. It's something like reification, or like the ideas. Can you count ideas? Oh, I have 3 ideas. You have 6 ideas. So are you productive? Is your productivity double my productivity? You never know what those 3 ideas are, what those 6 ideas are. Can you have like 1.5 idea? No, I don't know, right? So think on those lines. I got 2 kisses. I got 8 kisses. From whom? From, I mean, when? It differs, right? So you can't put a number to that without the story. So to conclude on thought number one, don't take decisions solely based on the bug count. Listen to the story and the context. And I'm just checking if there are any questions on this. There are no questions. Feel free to add questions if it is related to that specific thought which I'm talking about. We'll take it right away, or we'll take it at the end. Slide number 5, second thought. And for those who have joined recently, the link to the PPT is at bit.ly/TTT AJ webinar. Okay, back to the deck. Slide number 5, thought 2, ideal dev to tester ratio. Yes, so this was a similar question to what Josly asked and triggered this whole webinar concept. So how many testers for a team of 3 developers? Do you have an answer? How many testers for a team of 10 developers? No answer, right? You can have an answer, but don't make it an industry standard. There's no industry standard. That's the good thing and the bad thing. Maybe not necessarily bad, mostly good. There's no industry standard in testing. Okay. If you find any table like what I have given for this domain, this should be the dev to QA ratio. Please don't believe that table. That particular table, if at all it existed, if at all it exists, is or could be for a specific project, specific region, specific product, specific team, specific skill set, right? You can't just pick some process from some company and make it your own and say, oh, why did it fail for me? Just because Amazon releases builds every X seconds, don't just go ahead and say, okay, I will also release. Your context might not even need that, right? Things like that. So I've just put that table with the comments column saying there's no such industry standard. Do not believe such tables. Context is king, queen, minister, everything. I thought first context is king, then the queens might feel bad. So then I said context is king, queen, minister, everything. Okay. If you don't understand the context and if you pick a process, I'm very sorry, there are high chances of you failing. Why I'm not saying that you will definitely fail? I don't know about the context, right? So there is a high chance of failing. So understand the context. In your context, that ratio might be a brilliant answer to a specific problem. Don't just impose it on others, right? And why this doesn't work, there are many other variables at play. As I told, skill set, who is involved, what kind of bugs do the developers give you, what kind of skill set do the developers have, what kind of skill set does the testing team have, and when is the release, what is the timeline, tools, support, management, the culture, all those things come into play. In theory, we might not read about those, but then when you get into an actual project, you will understand that all these other factors play an equally important role. Slide number 6 is the image of 2 teams. Can we say that those 2 teams are equal? All you asked for 15 players or the probables for the World Cup. Here it is. One is for 99 World Cup and one is for 2019 World Cup. Are both the teams equal? Because you just said the numbers, right? So here is the answer. Both sets of players cannot be compared just because they have a common attribute that, okay, they play for India, they count the same, right? No. Each one had their own skill set and they gelled differently in that particular team. 99 team needed a Robin Singh and Ajay Jadeja as the fielders. Now we have so many fielders, so many good fielders, right? So things like that. Context varies, don't just go on the numbers. Yes, Balaji says, and specific to the velocity at which releases are made. What is the timeline? X number of days, X number of weeks, how many per day, per week, things like that, right? So going to the next thought, pass percentage. So it is slightly related to thought number 1. the bug count, right, or the decision based on the bug count. We cannot release till we achieve 95% pass percentage. It feels bad that I still see testers talking about such statements or stating such statements even today. When I go to different testing teams, I meet the different testing teams at client locations, their in-house teams and stuff like that. I see, okay, we cannot release till we achieve 95% pass percentage. What is that 5% fail? What kind of issues? Do they consistently fail every build, or that 5 is different every build, right? Things like that. Some might say those 5% are security issues, so it is very critical. Without fixing them, we cannot release. Fine. Security issues. What kind of security issues? Does your product really deteriorate in terms of value to the customer based on those security issues? For example, I've given we have this category called best app design, best UX, and things like that, right? Where an app gets awarded based on that category. So maybe in those kind of categories, security might not be important at all. It's just how well you wow me with your app design. Not even be logging in or not even sharing any information to the app. But there are some security issues. Fine. Those might not matter. Just because you found a bug doesn't mean it has to be fixed. As Kemkener says in the bug advocacy or in the testing computer software book, the best tester is not the one who finds the most number of bugs. The best tester is one who gets most number of bugs fixed, right? So don't have a number, don't have an absolute number. And the critical point is never switch off your critical thinking. Just because it has been this way before you came to this team, just because this has been successful for X releases, it doesn't guarantee that it will succeed the next time as well, right? So please pay attention whenever someone says pass percentage. In the next slide, I have put 2 images. I came second in the running race. Oh, fantastic. Great job. Great achievement. How many runners? 3. Okay. In the second picture, I came second in the running race. Oh, on the marathon. Oh, great. Second. But that person also came second in the race. So you both must be, equally skilled. That race was for 3 people. This race was like maybe more than 1,000 people. So there's a big difference, right? But then the pass percentage, or the statement which I have told, 30% of people did not complete the race, right? So that 30% in the first context means maybe 2 completed, 1 did not complete, 33, right? Things like that. In the second picture, that 30% amounts to a huge number. So that huge number is nowhere close to 1 from the first picture. But then if you base your decision based on a single pass percentage or a fail percentage, this is what you'll get. A big difference. Applying the same rule in 2 different contexts will give you, might give you very varying results, which might shock you. So don't take any such thought as a standard. Never switch off your critical thinking. Think about your thinking, and then use only if it makes sense in your context. Okay. Hi Shubham. Hi Puneet. Hello Yogesh. So any questions so far? So we have covered 3 topics. 3 thoughts. First is don't take decisions solely based on the bug count. What is the ideal dev to tester ratio? Then the pass percentage guiding your decisions. So any questions? Okay. So we'll move on. So if you have any questions, feel free to type it out in the comment. Okay, thought number 4, slide 9. Automation is superior to manual. You open Quora, you go to LinkedIn, any community where, at least not in the test drive community, but any other community, you see this. Hey, I have X number of years in the manual testing experience, and I want to switch to automation. Why? Because everyone is switching. Because I might get bigger raise. I might get a more salary, right? Higher salary. Big myths. In simple terms, all these are big myths. Neither, first of all, the classification between automation and manual is debatable, and both need smart thinking. You both need to use tools, and both have their own value, right? Now we need to stop that differentiation, manual versus automation. It's in one of the Tricenter's blogs, or in Explore It book by Elizabeth Hendrickson, I read that testing is exploring plus checking. And what is difference between testing and checking? Michael Bolton has written wonderful posts. So in simple terms, you need snipers to attack the enemy who will not shoot 100 bullets per minute, who will shoot 1 or 2. And at the same time, you need those folks who can manage tankers, right, which can fire so many bullets or bombs and stuff like that. So you need both. Think of automation and functional or manual as complementary. Where automation is required, use automation. And even in automation, you need to think. You need to design the entire approach first. You cannot just pick a tool and say, okay, I will automate right away. No. You will again fall into traps, multiple traps. You might automate the wrong thing. You might automate in a wrong way. The approach might be wrong. You might not think of scalability. If with 1,000 entries, you might be able to automate in a particular approach. When that 1,000 becomes 10,000 or a lakh, your approach would fall flat on its face, right? Without proper thinking at the start, without proper designing of a particular check, automation might not give you enough value. You might design a brilliant solution, but then the execution of the scripts itself might take 48 hours, whereas without any tools, you might finish it in like 14 hours, right? Things like that. So the next slide has 2 images. A fool with a tool is still a fool, right? So think on those lines. Are you using a particular tool because you have been mandated to use that tool? That approach has a big difference compared to, you have a problem to solve, you surveyed multiple tools, tried out few tools, and then pick the best tool according to that context, or maybe a combination of tools and some in-house scripting and things like that, right? And that is the other image which I was talking about. Checked plus explored is equal to tested. So I'm not against automation. In fact, the recent global testing retreat call for papers, the deadline was on Sunday. The conference happening in Pune, the deadline was on Sunday. I and my team used automation to submit those papers, right? But the approach of, oh, this should be automated, was thought out, right? So that needs clear thinking, a clear thought process, an approach of how to solve problems, problem solving skills, right? Use tools to complement your thinking, and definitely think before you start an automation project, right? And you have mentors like Rahul Verma, who will definitely help you when you're stuck in automation. And there's Ashok as well there, right? Good. So there are a few questions. Sorry. Yeah. So Balaji highlights the points about the check and the test. Sujit has a question. I have one query. Let's have two testers. Let's suppose we have two testers in a team. One tester is doing most UI UX bugs and gets max count of fix. At the same time, other testing is finding bugs, critical bugs. Who will get valued? They'll get valued based on what was their mission. If the first person's expectation, or if the team's expectation from tester one was, hey, tester one, go find all the UI UX bugs you can find, and that person has delivered that, great, that person has added value. Same goes to tester two. The tester two's work was also find functional bugs, and they have added value. Now we are comparing like apples and oranges, right? Both are finding bugs, but one is finding apple, one is finding orange. Who is important? Both of them are important. If you had asked someone to find UX bugs and they are finding functional bugs and not finding UX bugs, big problem, right? So it all depends on the question. The testing versus checking differentiation is one of the things we need to let go if you want to achieve the merging of thought you are suggesting. I'll think and reply to this. Yeah, but then thanks for triggering. Okay. Slide number 11, thought number 5. Technical is equal to ability to able to code. If I'm not able to code, then I'm not technical. At the same time, if I'm able to code, I'm technical. I'm more superior. No, I mean, coding is one attribute, is what I would say. There are people who script, there are people who script but can't think through. They say, you give me what to code, what to automate, I will do it, but don't make me come up with those cases. Not appreciated, right? So same way, technical is not just the ability to code, but it can be extended to a multiple of things. So I'll tell you this recent example which I talked about, submitting 107 papers to this conference using automation. I did not write a single line of code. But then the thought of using automation to do this and the way how we would do this, there I contributed some part, right? So this way you can contribute to highly technical stuff, not necessarily by just coding, but by maybe asking the right questions, but by pinpointing the stuff which everyone is overlooking. At the same time, I'm not saying don't learn coding, I'm saying learn it. It is again a very powerful tool in your toolkit. It's like having a particular type of gun. If you don't have it, yes, you cannot use that particular power. But the point is, it is not the only gun, right? It's not the only weapon. You can have other weapons too, other similarly powerful weapons. It all comes down to how you use those weapons, right? So slide 12, images. If you can analyze logs, right? If someone has written a code to print out the logs, and if you can make sense out of the logs better than anyone else, good, you're contributing, you're adding value to the team. If you can investigate a particular bug, if you can replicate a hard to replicate bug very easily, right? You have the skills, you have the knack of replicating any bug, any customer reported bug within few minutes, whereas others might take hours or days. Good, you're adding value. That's also being technical, in my opinion, right? So don't just restrict yourself to saying, if I know coding, I'm technical. If I don't know coding, I'm not technical. No, right? So the question there, can you identify what to automate when no one even pays attention to the time lost because something is not automated? So that itself is again a key skill. Nishant, what if testers have zero coding knowledge? Try learning, and meanwhile you can always try knowing so much about the systems involved that you become the subject matter expert, right? And even the folks who are coding or automating take your help in terms of what to automate, what not to automate, which part of to be automated when, and things like that, right? Know about the system, know so much about the customers that you can predict their behavior to some extent. Know small tools which might not do the end-to-end automation, but some simple stuff like comparing to reference, I mean, one of them being a reference data and the other being a test data, and you quickly have this tool compare that, things like that. So I'll think and come up with more examples and reply to your comment. How did you automate paper submission? Can you elaborate? Just curious. It was they needed a Word document as an abstract. Sorry, and there was a TownScript booking form to submit a ticket by attaching the abstract doc and the photograph. So we used Excel and we filled up all the fields, and then the script read the Excel file, created the abstract.doc, and then we filled up the form, web form, and then submitted, and then took the booking ID, right? And that is one of the talks which we have submitted to the conference. Hopefully it gets selected. And Rahul Verma says true, but I missed the thread. Okay. Coding is just one of the critical skills. There are many more. Yes. Having said that, coding opens many doors to these additional areas. Totally agree. Hi, Aksa. Aksa says, isn't understanding complete architecture of an app and knowing the origin of the bug a part of manual testing? Do you think those who automate or those whose responsibility is to automate need not know all of this, right? So we are differentiating between this. Oh, you should know this and you should do this. So if we break that barrier, we'll do good, is my opinion. Okay, let's go to slide number 13, thought number 6. Who earns more, dev or QA? You pick 100 testers and ask who earns more. I am somehow confident that more than 60 people would say dev earns more. So why is that? Why do you think someone would earn more than you? Simple things. A role. At the same time, people try to generalize. They pick few sample or data points and then say this is how the industry works, right? There are many testers who get paid much more than their counterparts or the developers in the team. I should not have used the word counterparts, maybe. And multiple factors determine a person's salary: company budget, the market situation, projects in hand. What value is that person adding to the team? What happens if that person is not there in the team? Will the project still continue? Will there be a huge impact on the team, on the deliverables? Based on those factors, the salary is decided. At the same time, if the company budget is not there to pay a particular person's salary more than X, or that person is the highest paid in that company, but then that salary is low compared to the industry standard, which again is not a standard, right? In this industry reference data points, then you will say, oh, this person is again paid less compared to the developers, right? But then in that company, that person is paid the most, right? So who earns more, dev or QA? Whoever adds more value earns more. It could be dev, it could be QA, it could be HR. It could be a product manager, it could be a salesperson, it could be a fresher in any of these roles, right? So always think, am I adding enough value? We all understand the word CTC, sorry, cost to the company. Now the next slide has the the phrase cost versus value. What is the cost the company is paying by having you versus what is the value you are adding to the company? So three things I put as images. The first one is either be multi-skilled or be super good at one skill, right? And you be so good that no one can ignore you. Okay. And the third one is, I think it says imagination is more powerful than logic, which I agree. I mean, who would have thought that paper submission can be automated, right? We had become so lazy after Saturday and Sunday, the weekend where we submitted, that even though we had an idea for a paper submission, we did not submit because we said, anyways, the script is there. We'll just run the script, right? Things like that. So who earns more? Simple answer, whoever adds more value, and provided the person who gets the value appreciates this value, right? A person X might be doing brilliant at their company, but there is no one to understand that value. Definitely that person might not be paid as per expectations, right? So you also need someone who understands that, okay, what value you are providing, right? So both parties need to understand this. You need to understand what value you are expected to provide, exceed that, and the other person also needs to understand what value is expected out of you, and everyone should know, at least the two parties should know when that value has been delivered and or exceeded, right? So there are three new comments. Okay. I mean, most of the manual testers think only UI or functional testing is the only thing they need to know. Yes, that's the problem, right? And that's why when they get paid less, then they say, oh, testers get paid less, right? It is, if you add 5x value, you might get 5x. If you add 1x value, you will get 1x, right? Okay, thought number 7, X will replace testing. So as I told, I wanted to replace X with AI will replace testing. Then I realized we have been doing this game of X will replace testing for a few years now. Automation will replace testing. Once automation is there are no testers required. Then we said Agile has come. In Agile, there's no tester role. Everyone is a tester. Everyone is a developer. Everyone is a, I don't know, X role. Everyone can do everything. Which actually, the Agile Manifesto or the core members of the Agile who follow or preach this Agile methodology don't tell that, right? But that's how the industry has built it. Agile means everyone should know everything. You should be a generalist. There's no role or there is no requirement of a specialist. So Agile doesn't need testers. Then DevOps doesn't even talk about testers. It's DevOps, right? I should know the tools and I'm good, right? And then finally, now we are in that phase where AI and ML will replace testers. Raul Oma says, I think it's only X replacing testers. X has been enhancing testing all along. Yeah, that's the point in my next slide. So with all of these, if you notice the pattern, what we have done is testing community is a brilliant community, is an intelligent community. They know how to adapt, right? So instead of going on absolute terms like will it replace, tell me yes or no, we should start asking the question, yes, it will definitely replace some part. What is that part? What part of testing that we do today will be replaced by X, and to what extent, right? The question to ask is what will be replaced and how do I leverage X in testing? How do I use automation in testing? How do I take up the brilliant points in agile DevOps and apply it as a tester? How do I test the AI systems? So what do I need to learn? Please give me a break. I'll just drink some water. Thank you. Right. So the question to ask is what part of testing will be replaced and by how much, and how can I use this new thing or the scary thing in testing? How can I become a better tester by using it? How do I complement? How do I use X to complement my testing? So if you see the next slide, so I put 3 links. One is automation. About automation, there's a brilliant university called Testing Automation. One sec. It is Test Automation University. Then there are courses by Agile Testing Alliance on CP MLDS standing for Machine Learning Data Science. Sorry. And there are courses by Verity Software. I put the training calendar of Verity there. So instead of being afraid, focus on the skills. So if you feel you are afraid because you think it will replace you, you are afraid because you don't know anything about that particular X. So it's a daemon, right? So before the daemon attacks you, know so much about the daemon, and then you will know that daemon is actually a friend for you, right? So take help of these links, these universities, these courses, these workshops, right? And then get skilled. You need not become a superstar in ML, AI, or automation, right? Know just enough to get that just enough value what you are expecting. If you want to get extreme value, extreme benefits, you need to know extreme, right? Too much, most of it, or you must be an expert in that field. If you want to know, okay, just enough not to be afraid to explore more when required, know just enough, right? So that is my policy. Don't be afraid. What is ML? ML is machine learning. Okay, we'll come back. I'll leave few questions for the end. And the last thought for now, the thought number 8, multiple others combined into one. There is no future for testing. Here is the link, bit.ly/AJ keynote. So I had given a talk saying the future of testing is here. Please go through that and then we'll discuss. Management listens only to developers. You start making sense when you talk. Sorry. You start making sense when you talk, you start adding value, you start understanding the whole system, you start understanding the problem faced by the management, you start understanding what is it that developers are contributing apart from code, which you are not able to contribute. Understand where you are lacking, work on those skills. Understand how did other people solve similar problem in your company. Understand what is required from your role, what is your mission, deliver that, exceed that, and then you come back and tell me if people don't listen to you, right? And sometimes even if you, when you give your best and people are not listening to you, maybe it's an indication that that's not the right place for you. Okay. And if I learn this tool, my life is set. Um Learn how to learn. That should help you in your lifetime. That will help you cross any X demon that scares you. Focus on understanding how you learn, not how the industry learns. There's a big difference in that. Sorry. Testing is easy, is what few people say. Maybe they have not explored much. I'm not saying it is not fun. I'm saying it is not easy. There's a big difference between being easy and being fun, right? And I need to do this certification. Um, Age-old debate, different context. A person whom I know who opposed certification, who tore down that book when that person was preparing for or reading about that certification, tore down that book saying, no, this point is invalid, this point is invalid, now is recommending to his own team members that certification. So things change. No, still he doesn't endorse that certification, but he's recommending his team members to take it for a specific reason. So I need to do this certification. Replace those words. Need. What happens if I do? What happens if I don't do? Cost versus value versus risk. Some places you may not get a job without a certification. You need to do it. Some places don't care if you have or you don't have that certification. Choice is left to you. Company is sponsoring, someone else is sponsoring. Will not ask you back. Go ahead, do it if you want, if you like doing it. You like to learn, you just want to know what is there in that certification, go ahead and do it, right? So there's no absolute question or answer here. It all depends on you, right? There can always be, I can talk for an hour on why certification is needed, I can talk for the same hour why it is not needed, right? So it all depends on your context. And then yeah, slide 18 is about me. So I had the delivery at Capital QA, and if you need help in releasing top quality products, services, we can talk. The website is testwithajay.com. You have my email ID there, and the latest book is leanpub.com/50 mistakes. But if you go through the link which I have shared, you get it at $8 instead of the $15 which I'm proposing people to pay for, right? And the next two slides has all the credits for the images I've used. So now let's quickly go through the questions. I'll take some time reading it. Okay. Uday says less time. People have unrealistic expectations, maybe. So what do? Talk to them and explain why you need X amount of time. Highlight what will you test when given an X amount of time. They might not expect you to test all of it. tester has only 1 or 2 days to test the entire feature. What is that entire feature? That understanding might be different compared to what you think entire feature and what they think, right? Have an understanding of that and then negotiate, right? Uh, what is the future of AI and RPA in tester life? I don't know. What is the future? They will stay. You will stay. I will stay. Everyone will stay. As simple as that. Can you use that in your testing day-to-day projects? Yeah, if the projects demand that, yes. If you don't know, you may not be able to use. So learn it. Learn it. If it is useful, good. If it is not, at least you learn that, okay, that will not be useful, right? But when it is needed, it might be too late for you to spend time learning it, right? Yeah. Thank you, Rahul, for the books. Sudhamshu, hi Ajay. So, what does a QA manager, as per designation or role, should think of? Associate software tester, trainee software tester, till the VP of QA or whatever. Forget your roles. Just answer this one question: what value people expect out of me? What value am I delivering? Am I meeting? Am I exceeding the value? That's it. Then you can drill down and make your own responsibilities, KRA, KPI, and stuff like that. Always add value. Whatever you do, add value to the company, add value to the team, add value to the project, add value to the client, add value to the customers, the process, right? Bring sales, bring new clients, train testers, add value. That's it, right? Start with adding value and then you break down in terms of a specific role or responsibility. That's how I would approach. Okay, I think I have touched upon the other questions which have been put there. Yes. So, any other questions? Your thoughts on my thoughts of those 8 topics? What could have been done? I mean, what could I have done better? Do you have such thoughts where you think those are useless, which I've not touched upon? Feel free to comment. And this webinar is not the end of it. I'm available at Facebook. I'm available at Gmail. Test with Ajay has the other links where I'm available at. So we can talk, we can discuss. We can meet in person, maybe if required, right? So I think it's we have 2 more minutes left. So just to recap, the first was don't base your decision solely on the bug counts. The second was the ideal dev to tester ratio. Third was the pass percentage. Fourth was automation is superior to manual. Fifth, technical means the ability to code. Sixth, salary, who earns more, who adds value earns more value earns more. 7, X will replace testing, and 8 is a combination of multiple such thoughts. Thank you, Ajay. Would like to ask one thing. What are the top 3 things you would recommend for a newbie in tester? a topic for a webinar. Meanwhile, I'll come back after this, take a break, and then reply. Understand the context will help in testing and everywhere. So this was a good takeaway. Thank you. Need to go beyond the bug count. Thanks. How can a tester gain user perspective without any base of it? What do you mean by base of it? How can a tester gain user perspective without any base of it? Talk to support teams to understand who your users are, get data from analytics, talk to developers. Actually, in this current age, we have a lot of data. We have very few people who can make sense out of it. So be one of those who can make sense out of it, and then see how you can understand that your users. No user would say no if you go and say, hey, you know what, I'll help you. Can you demonstrate how you use the app? Can you demonstrate what troubles you? No user would say, no, I'll not tell you, right? Things like that. If the intention is genuine, if they get to know that you are actually there to help them, they'll give you more information. And again, as I told before, there's a lot of data. Testers don't use it. Forget testers, many people don't use it. Don't know how to use it, right? People say, I need requirements. You give them requirement documents. That's it. It is just there, right? Things like that. Yeah, Sharat says, like your thought process and enthusiasm to start things. Thank you. We have a pending thing. We have to release it on April 28th. Without any introduction given to you. Okay. How can a tester gain user perspective without any introduction given to you? Ask for it. Give reasons why you need that. How you can add value by getting that information. Give a demonstration. Give a pilot value add. Right? Things like that. And talk with the right set of people. Ask help when needed. Don't hesitate to ask help. You need not be an expert if you can get things done. And to get things done, you need not know it. You should just know where to get it when you need it, right? And there is an excellent article by John Buck called The Expert's Game. I will paste that link here maybe in a day or two, right? So there's one more comment. I would have not forgotten, Sharat. We have promised to Mahesh, or at least we have promised to ourselves, we should release it. And once again, thanks a lot to everyone, each one of you, for attending it, for your comments, for your active participation. Thank you so much, and enjoy the upcoming days in this week or in this month. Right? Have a great year, and hope to meet you in the next X. Could be a webinar, it could be a workshop, whatever. Thank you. There are. Okay, Balaji is replying to WhatsApp. Good. There's one more. Okay, good. Okay, so I'll wait for 30 more seconds. If there are no questions, we'll stop. So this is a learning for me. I need to have a small mint-like thing in my mouth, or maybe it's the summer effect. Yeah, good point by Balaji. You can make assumptions. No mistake in that, no problem. Just that, state those assumptions. One small tip, don't just tell what you have tested, also tell what you have not tested, so that people are aware and people don't assume that you have tested it but there are no bugs, that's why you have not reported about that, right? So don't just stop at what you have done, also tell what you have not done. And why you have not done, the reasons could be varied. A, you don't have the skills, there's no time, there is no tools, whatever. Right? Vote muddy. Yeah. Good. 10, 9, 8, 7.5, 6.75, 5.25, 4, 3, 2, 1.75. No questions. Thank you so much. Good night. Thank you.